Hi, Charanya.
Hi, everyone. How is everyone?
Hello. Issue is still not yet resolved.
Wait, I feel like I'm not echoing. Am I echoing?
No, you're not. Ourselves on mute.
Okay, fine. So it's only Nalini. Okay. So I'm just going to start with a brief introduction and let me see if I can share my tab. That's okay. That's okay, Madhav. It's okay. You don't
Madhav
need
is
to
camera shy.
enable your camera. Okay, so for those of you who don't know me, I think everyone knows me over here. I think I know everyone. Yeah, at least I know who Aditya and Utkarsh are. The rest I've definitely interacted with. Okay, so first of all, thanks for asking me to speak. I don't know why I was asked to speak, but I guess I guess you guys didn't have any other interesting speakers. No, I'm just joking. I'm very interesting. So, I think I am not going to talk about design too much. I feel like designers always keep talking about good design, but I feel like everyone knows what good design is. And I don't want to claim to be a very good designer. I'm a decent designer, but I'm not someone who wants to give advice to other designers because I feel like designers are very nifty that way. They'll figure out their own style and their own. So this is mostly I'm going to be talking a little bit about running an ethical, sustainable fashion business in today's times, and the challenges and the things that were not taught in design school, and the things that I had to learn and unlearn to run a business that, at least has started breaking even recently, and we can pay ourselves a little bit. So I would call that a relatively successful business so far. So I'm going to talk a little bit about running a business, and let's start. Oh, okay, great. So this is just a quick resume of mine. I did my undergraduation in textile design from NIFT Hyderabad. I'm basically from Delhi. I was born and brought up in Delhi. My heritage is from Tamil Nadu or something, but I don't identify with that at all. I'm a Delhiite. And then after doing my textile design from NIFT, I realized that, it's a very small segment where I can just keep designing textiles. So I need to give it up, a skill up. So then I joined NID Apparel Design, which is in Gandhinagar, in the Gandhinagar campus, for those who are not from there. And I worked, the places that I'm really proud of that I worked was at Avni Kumau. It's an NGO up in Uttarakhand. And We Living, which was another home textile agency, which basically cemented the fact that I need to upskill myself and I can't just be a textile designer. And then after that, when I was in Gandhinagar studying apparel design, I interned at Akaro, which is a designer brand that works with artisans and craftspeople. And then I worked with a menswear brand called Barik till about I did my graduation project over there, and then after that, I continued working there. That was also a startup. It was a menswear startup. I think it's doing fairly well now. So, what is Tamarind Chutney? Uh, it started out as a sustainable Indian contemporary brand, but now it's evolving to be um, a quirky, feminist, sustainable craft space Indian contemporary brand. My co-founder Tanvi, she's the business kind of brain behind it. I'm the design brain behind it. We both had a very similar sort of journey where we're just like, no, we want to work in impact. We want to work in the impact space. And, we want to work in one of the larger, most strong points of India, which is the craft space, which is the artisan space. And we wanted to impact that. So it started off with an impact. It started off with the conversation, I think in 2007 or 8, when we were still in the 9th and 10th class, and we were just like, no, we know India needs like a brand that is fun, that is modern, is functional, and nobody does that yet. So I think the conversation started in 2009 or 10, and then we had continued the conversation, and then in 2019 we were finally like, enough's enough. I was looking for a switch. She was doing her MBA, so we were just like, ठीक है, थोड़ा सा पैसे इकट्ठा करते हैं, and then let's just start it. So we wanted it to be like if the early Chumbak, I don't know if you guys have heard of the brand, if the early Chumbak and Fab India had a love child, it would be Tamarind Chutney. So that is our end goal, where we are like super fun, super quirky, have the wit of Happily Unmarried, have the style of something else, and then we have the impact that Fab India has created. So I think before we start to solve a problem, we really need to ask ourselves, is there really a problem? I think as designers, we just jump to a conclusion because we all want to be problem solvers, and then we just take any problem and anything and we want to redesign it. Like, I remember the first design process module that we all have in foundation. It's just like, take a problem and solve it. Like, take the key ring, take something else, like potato peeler or something. And I was just like, is this really a problem? Like, first we really need to stop and ask ourselves, is this really a problem? So the problem statement that ours was, is there a fashion brand that does this? And I often ask myself that, there are so many fashion brands out there. There are so many like apparel brands. Apparently, there are more than 50,000 fashion brands in and around the world. And it's just like, do we need another fashion brand? And I think a very early on, I would say, realization that I came to was that I hate the word fashion. It is elitist, it is overrated, and it is honestly unnecessary. It was basically a group of rich people who were probably sitting one day in the 1800s or the 1700s and we're like, hamare paas bahut kapda hai, we have a lot of money, we have the seamstress, let's make something for like the rich people of our society, and let's give it to them because we have all of this. They gave all of that maybe to the rich person, and the rich person really liked how she felt. The other rich people also liked how they felt, and then they all wanted to look better than each other. So they started pumping more money into this industry, and I honestly feel like that's how the fashion industry evolved. Before that, it was just clothes. Like, sure, we need roti, kapra, and makan. But kapra is a necessity. Kapra can also be just a rectangular piece of fabric that you can drape all around you and wear it all day, every day. Maybe you need 3 garments at max. Maybe you need 4 kapras max. When kapra became fashion, that's when the problem started. We just had a lot of money. We had a lot of time. People had a lot of money and they wanted to spend it on something. People wanted to look better than other people. People wanted to feel like they looked better than other people. So then they started pumping money into this industry. It is I definitely feel like fashion is very overrated. There used to be 4 seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter collection, and now there are 52 seasons. I'm going to admit someone. Now there are 52 seasons. There are micro seasons. Zara's presented as a case study of efficiency and of like supply chain management and all of that. But what we don't really realize is that a lot of money plus a lot of wants plus the need to show off is equal to over consumption, And if there are a lot of things, then there is going to be overproduction. It is simple economics. If there is a huge demand, there is going to be a huge supply. And if there is a huge supply, there's going to be huge production. If there's a huge production, there's going to be a huge production and huge production wastage. So I honestly feel like this industry was doomed to doom the world because we just keep making and making and making. There are 52 million tons of clothes that are made every year for 7.6 billion people who probably already have the 52 million tons from last year that was produced. And what we started realizing is that people are just producing and producing and producing without any thought, just blind production. They do a little bit of market research and they're like, oh yeah, people want this, people want that, these are the trends. We need to make a halter top today, we need to make an off-shoulder top tomorrow. And then day after tomorrow, it all goes into the junkyard. So I think what a lot of people, when they start to solve a problem, they don't realize what other problems that problem solving creates. And this is why we wanted to start a business that maybe does things a little better than the previous business that was started. You know, capitalism sucks, balls. I know we've all had those Khopcha nights where we sit and discuss, capitalism sucks. We should all go back to socialism where, you know, everyone was poor, everyone was given the same amount of money. No, that's not right. Everyone deserves a good quality of life, right? That's why capitalism started. That's why, you know, private economies took off. The government doesn't like any of us. They want all of us to remain poor. We're always going to look for a better quality of life. That's why businesses started. But what happened when businesses, till today, also what they do is they want to profit only the higher ups. That isn't fair. It is fair to them, and that's why they're going to continue doing that. They don't give a shit about how much the lowest paid worker in their factory is paid. They just want to get more rich. That's where capitalism really sucks, because businesses profit only a certain few. So when we were thinking about starting a business, we were like, what are the things that we are going to do that is different from a business that has been running so far? One is, what if everyone who's part of this business is paid fairly, equally, and equitably? The second thing is, what if we make products that are actually good, long-lasting, well thought out, functional, and that are less harmful than the previous businesses? I'm not saying that what we do is, you know, the best quality, zero wastage and everything. I know we say we're a zero waste brand, but that just means that we use all our fabric very judiciously. But anything that's produced is basically a waste. Anything that you there's this quote that I really like, which is, the most sustainable product that you own is the product that you didn't buy. You know, like, you don't need to buy more. So I feel like, what if we can make the best product, which is the least harmful of all the products? And the third is, what if we put the power with the consumers and told the consumers exactly where their money is going, how much everyone is being paid, you know, where it's being made, what the quality is, and we are there for them, you know, if at all our product is shit. That's why I missed the slide. Sorry, guys. That's why we wanted to start a business. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel. We didn't want to make a revolutionary product. We knew that India's strength is not in technology, especially when it comes to textile technology. India's strength is in its craftspeople and its handmade things. But what India's strength doesn't lie is in a good business, and a business that practices, whose practices are fair for everyone in the chain. So I think that's where we're like, we don't want to make anything fancy. We just want to be a good business where people are happy coming to work, where people can speak their mind, where people can come up to the founders and be like, this product is crap. We need to scrap this and we need to make a better product. I think having those values in place is very important. Right now, we're seeing a lot of mindless design. Like sustainability is like this buzzword that everyone keeps throwing around. We are sustainable, we are sustainability, sustainable soaps, sustainable umbrellas, blah, blah, blah. But what that just adds is that's just a marketing aspect, and nobody realizes, and everyone just buys into that greenwashing. Most of those sustainable products are high cost. They don't tell you where it's being made, how it's being sourced. It's being made in Bangladesh and it's being flown all the way to Netherlands, and then be like, this is the most sustainable thing. They are still producing from fresh resources, which is like the number one cost why the planet is depleting. And they don't have any actionable steps. Like if you ask them, hey, what are you doing to be sustainable? They'll just say some vague items. I had a call with Aditya Birla I don't know if any of you are working with that, but I had a call with Aditya Birla a few months ago where I was just like, okay, so, you make this sustainable regenerated cellulose-based fiber. And so how are you making it sustainable? And their reaction to this was, oh yeah, we are just really compliant. So our pollution is actually within the levels and the norms of India's pollution limits. And we all know that is one big bag of that shit. And they're often vague. Like they just hire really good copywriters who know what to say to the right people who are usually very gullible, and look at these beautifully photographed photos. A lot of money has been spent on photography, a lot of money has been spent on marketing, a lot of money has been spent on advertising. And then, you're just like, ye to bahut pyara lag raha hai, this definitely must be good quality, we're going to buy it. I think those are some superficial things that I was very sure I didn't want my brand to have. Like we spend maybe 3,000 to 5,000 rupees on our photo shoots. That's only because we call our friends, we make them model, and then we buy them some food to eat after that. That's the cost that we have in our photo shoots. This I've just put for some statistics. Currently, the women's apparel market size is $19 billion. Indian apparel size is $14 billion. And Indo-Western apparel is $4.6 billion. So I think we wanted somewhere in between, which is a good fit of Indo-Western, which fits in the Indian apparel brand. And this is basically what Tamarind Chutney does, to put it in a nutshell. We focus on small and medium artisans. Our artisans don't print more than 1,000 meters of cloth per month, which is very less. Usually, really big printers print about 7 to 8 to 10,000 meters a month. These are just block printers. We wanted it to be completely India focused, because what I saw is that India is very inherently sustainable because we are cheap people. We like to save money, and that automatically makes us the best users of resources, because we know how to, designate resources. We know how to use them judicially. We know how to reuse them. We know how to reduce them. That's why we land on Mars in less money than the entire budget of that George Clooney movie. Profit sharing. I think this is something that people don't do and businesses don't practice at all, and that I feel like we should all think about it, is that if I'm making 100 rupees, why isn't my artisan or why isn't my tailor making, 50, 60 rupees of that? Why am I doing all the effort? Sure, the risk that I'm taking is much more, but I feel like they are the ones who are actually doing the execution, and everyone should be paid equally. yeah, the last one is definitely having a more thorough value chain, which is, we haven't started design upskilling with the artisans yet, but what I'm slowly realizing is that what I've learned in the, say, the 6.5 years of design education, my artisans have been learning for their entire lives. It's, these are the skills that are passed on, they're a legacy, and I am no one to go and tell them what to do and how to do it. I think it's an insult, and we need to learn that we're not better than other people. They have years and years of experience, and we should respect that. Maybe just tweak it slightly, but not really change it. So now I want to talk about a little bit of my role in the startup, which is, the idea bank. We recently hired a marketing person. She's good, but she runs out of ideas very quickly. And so they always come back to you for the idea bank. So you need to have new ideas always. You're the production manager. This is in terms of, I have to do the sourcing. I'm still doing the sourcing. I'm still doing the sampling. I'm doing the QC. I'm doing the shipping. So all of these hats, the entire supply chain, I have to manage. I am also the social media person. I have to make all the posts. I sat and made all the design language for TC, which is still work in progress. I also have to do a lot of accounts and admin work, which is really boring, but you have to do it when you're running a business. I'm also the model. We get our friends to model because they're the best free models, and then we add a hook of, these are real people, so you can connect with them, and that's worked really well for TC. I feel like when people see real people modeling, and they see that, this person actually has a little bit of tummy flab, and this person actually has, a little bit of heavy arms and stuff, I think that really makes it relatable. And what the number one thing that we got feedback is that you guys are really relatable, and we love to see how the products fit on an M size person or an XL size person. But other brands don't do that, because they always have really fit and toned models. Like, that is not real life. Yeah, and a lot of other things. But I love doing this, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else, because I just feel that when you have your heart and soul in something, you will give your 120% to that, as opposed to when you're working at a less than ideal job, and you have to, you don't have that free reign. And as creative people, we tend to feel very claustrophobic when we don't have that working for us. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't do that. I feel like, I took a huge risk when I started this, and, it might come crashing down in 1 or 2 years. And I had this conversation with myself that I was just like, देखो, अगर ये brand नहीं चलता है, क्या तुम ठीक होगी? And I was just like, you know what? It's fine. I will be fine 2 years from now if this doesn't run and if this doesn't work. I would have done some of the best work in my life. People who work for 8 years in an organization and get that experience, I think I've got all of that experience in 2 years. I've learned about SEO. I've learned about Google ads. I've learned about Facebook ads. I've learned about UI UX. I started doing something in Figma also, and I was just like, oh my God, people get paid so much for this. ये तो मैं रात को बैठ के आधे घंटे में कर सकती हूँ. So I just feel like everyone should start something of their own if they can afford to lose or afford to invest some time in themselves. If they can afford to take that risk. This all comes from a lot of privilege. I must admit that since I can afford to take that time, since I can afford to, survive on a less than ideal salary. I live with my parents. I don't have to pay rent. My parents cook the food for me. I don't have to pay for food. If you can afford to do all of that, I feel like you can afford to just step out of your comfort zone and try something that you haven't tried so far. Because I'm telling you, everything that you study in design school is useless if you can't A, make money from it, B, if you can't improve the world a little bit. And C, if you don't leave the world in a better, I know it sounds very cliche, but sorry, like need of the hour. You need to leave the world in a better place than when you found it. So if you can afford to take the risks, you must. And what is happening right now is I feel like a lot of people are just designing for the heck of it and just producing for the heck of it, because they have to. There are so many design schools in India, and they're like churning out thousands and thousands and thousands of designers, but there are hardly any people who are doing meaningful design. People are not thinking about what they're designing, how does it affect every single category in the socioeconomic strata. Are you making someone's life better? You must be making someone's life better, but in return, are you making someone else's life less better? So I think what we're really missing right now as a design community is the really strong foundation of values. Good and bad is not a gray area. They're binaries. You know what is good, you know what is bad. You know that if you're not paying your karigar a living wage, I'm not talking about a minimum wage, I'm talking about a living wage, when he can afford to take 2 days off and not worry about putting food in his children's stomach at the end of the day. Are you thinking about all of that when you design your business? Like, the design of business is also something that is not taught in NID, and that we should all actively learn, because we're so busy perfecting that perfect product, perfecting that perfect clay model, making this amazing installation, and trying to show that you're the best. But I think what we are forgetting is these basic values of treating people right, making sure that you don't cause too much of damage to a lot of things, and using your resources judiciously. I think that's what's missing, and I feel like everyone should just have those basics, and then you build everything on top of it, and your products are always going to be honest. Your products are always going to be valued. So that is my design philosophy. I listen to my customers. They know exactly what they need. I'm not in the business of technology. I don't have to make iPads because they're unnecessary. I just have to make a well-designed, well-thought-out garment that people are going to feel amazing when they wear, and when they realize that this garment has made someone else's life or the stakeholders' lives better. So that's all I'm going to talk about. I'm going to stop presenting.
Thank you, Charanya. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing with us your journey and bringing up conversations on important topics like ethical fashion, meaning of being a designer, meaning of design. And I think these are some things most of us would have asked ourselves at one point, and I'm sure a lot of people would have related to this conversation today. So thank you for speaking your heart out. And it's just very heartening to see like a two-woman army running a business, and then you sharing about your struggles of a business. Thank you so much for sharing that.
I have a lot of struggles. Yeah, this call
Yeah.
has to be for 2 hours if you want to hear all my struggles. How I'm not taken seriously when I go to talk to my vendors. They're just like, "Haan, madam, kuch bhi."
I'm
"Haan,
sure
madam."
we'll be breaking down a lot of gender roles there.
And then you have to go. You can't even shout at them, because they're just
Yeah.
like, "Are," and then like you don't know how you'll rub them the wrong way. So you have to like make these different tactics of just being polite, following up every day, going, sitting with them, having chai with them. It's just really different. It's a different way to sort of carve this, but it's a fun way. Like we need to subtly uh, learning how to battle patriarchy.
Yeah, yeah. I can imagine. I think some of our participants have questions for you, and now I'll open it for questions for people to discuss on these issues with you.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so Tamujit, you can unmute yourself and ask a question to Charanya yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Tamanji, go for
Yeah.
it.
So, as you say that NID doesn't teach us this design of business, which is very important. To, like we learn all these skills and learn to design things, and then unless we learn to do business, then how do we actually like use those skills? So, do you think in this 2.5 year course that we do in NID, there is any space in the like structure of the course where we can put in this design of business?
Absolutely. I feel like it's so necessary, like when I had started off, I just felt like NID had made me so laid back in terms of my approach to things because, our deadlines are flexible. We'll go talk to Krishna, we'll go talk to Amit, and we'll be like, हाँ अभी नहीं हुआ, मेरा creativity off था, I can't do. I just feel like we need some structure and some rigor. Actually, you know what? There are two things, Tamaji. One is our just general attitude towards work, and the second is how to hustle and be a business person. Now, how to hustle and be a business person is maybe not for everyone, Like some people still like to take their time and stuff. But what I feel like is what needs to really be established in NID is just professionalism, your attitude towards work, and how you need to make, um, you know, how you need to approach design. You need to approach design with a business person's mentality. We right now approach design with an artist's mentality, where we like just go and design and looking for inspiration. No, you need to train yourself. Inspiration is not going to come every day. You need to train yourself to think in that way where you're going to be paid for all of this. So you are accountable for a lot of things. I feel like that attitude shift is what is going to teach us, which is what is going to discipline us, and what is going to get us better. Like timelines for us are flexible. I feel like that is a huge unlearning that I had to do. Like, if I've committed something, I need to stick to my commitments. If not, I'm not going to be paid. My artisans are not going to be paid. My workers are not going to be paid. So I think that responsibility is something that needs to be inculcated in NID, and we don't need a special course, a 1 week module or something. We need this to happen in our daily practice.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Which batch are you? I don't think
I'm from 2018.
Okay.
Photography.
I was long gone.
Okay, Nitya also has a
Nitya.
question. Nitya, would you like to unmute yourself and ask the question yourself? Yeah.
Oh, it's okay, Nitya, if you're unavailable, I'll only ask it. When do you think of growth in the future? When you think of growth in the future, how do you think of it? How big do you want your business to get? Oh, okay. She said she apologized because her mic is not working. So this is a conundrum, because if our business grows, that means people are buying more, and our entire business module is to educate customers of the importance of slow fashion, the importance of conscious consumption. But what I do feel is that, like, sure, we do want to be in terms of revenue, yes, we do want to grow because that's how we're going to pay our people. But for me, growth is more than just revenue. It's about setting an example or paving a path where you're like, okay, we are doing our business, we are conducting our business the right way, and that is helping us grow, and we are growing. We're growing slowly, but we are growing. But that is just symbolic of the fact that there is a shift in attitude where people are willing to go that extra step. and willing to make a more conscious choice than say going to H&M conscious and buying the right things from there. So I think for me, growth is one is revenue growth, and one is a wholesome growth where we are growing as a market leader in terms of, best practices. We have maybe just set of guidelines of, how much should you pay people, how much should you consume, what all should you tell people, transparent pricing. I think that is also growth for me, because the 3-4 brands have started doing that after they saw us. There are sister brands, like we work with them, but it's just something that I really like. So I think for me, growth is kind of starting a new trend in terms of being an ethical business, and obviously revenue growth. I would say, like, in 10 years, I would want Tamarind Chutney to be like I said, like the next Fab India, but no retail stores, only online so far. If you want a number, Nitya, I would say it would at least be in like the crores. But yeah, it has to be slow. It can't be exponential growth. That's why we're not even taking any investments right now, because once you get investors in, then you just have to show exponential growth. And when you have to grow, you have to let go of a lot of your values. And that's something that both my co-founder and I are very staunch about, that we do not want to let go of our values. We are not going to, stoop down and like get lesser quality materials because we want to produce 10,000 pieces instead of 100 pieces. So we're not going to let go of that. So slow, sustainable growth is what we're aiming for.
Yeah, makes sense.
How separated is designing things from making a business out of it in the design education currently? It's quite there is quite a disparity in it, honestly. Like, like I was saying, that right now the design process is super leisurely. Like, you sit, you do your research, you do your market research, you do your primary research, you do your secondary research, you study your market trends, then you sit and analyze those trends, then you sit. I feel like we need to be more perceptive when it comes to just getting things out there. And what we need to realize is that we don't need to make a perfect product. Don't waste time in perfecting a product. Let the product go and it'll perfect itself on the way. Because the best kind of feedback that you get is a user feedback that's paid money for it. If you just go and give something for free, they're just going to be like, yeah, whatever, this, that. But if someone's bought it, and then they're going to give you very critical feedback because money was involved. So I think I think there's a term for this. It's called the Agile Methodology, where you just like make a prototype, you release it, and then you get feedback, and then you keep improving it. And I think that's the best kind of thing that we need to do. And we don't do that in design. In design, we just sit and mull over it until we have like a mediocre thing, because we spend too much time in market research. So I think we need to compress all of that, and we need to get our product out fast so that the market will give you honest feedback. Design education needs a complete overhaul, actually. Like, I feel like people who are teaching design really need to go and work in the industry for a few years, and have their values set. I feel like right now we are not being inculcated, those values aren't being inculcated in us, which I think are very important. Like, you need to teach. Sustainable design shouldn't be an option. It's not an option anymore. It can't be. You need to teach design that is inherently good for everyone.
I agree so much to this. And I think from NID to industry, I learned it the hard way, where I learned about not having a perfect design and how we're always refining our ideas before really jotting down one product per se. And to break that cycle when you enter industry, it was a huge shift. And I think it made me learn so much more about design, my own practice, and just about how things are working in the industry. So I agree so much to
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Tamajit has something to say.
So our batch actually, when our fourth semester was going on, the lockdown started, so we did not have a proper closure or something. So we are still stuck in that NID campus phase. So it's kind of, the campus is like Jannat. So once now, after getting out of the campus and joining a full-time job, it's, for me it's kind of kind of difficult to deal with this real world where you have to get up in a at a particular time, and you have to go to bed at a particular time. You have to like manage all your stuff and reach somewhere on time. So when you got out of NID, did
Yeah.
you feel like, do you have to really actively try to get out of that phase or something?
Yeah, I had to unlearn so much, because I'm just like, oh, but I'm a creative, and creativity is romanticized so much. Like, no, just because we are creative doesn't mean there are different rules for us. So I had to unlearn a lot of it, and I felt like if I have to function in the real world where I actually have to, make a difference and make a profit and make a like actually make myself a value and an indisposable asset to the company, I need to like just get rid of all of this and not walk around with that air of creativity. I'm from NID. I recently interacted with a bunch of our NID super duper seniors that are all from like the Paldi campus, because Krishna had come to visit Delhi, so I had gone to just say hi to her, and then a bunch of those people were there, and they are still talking like how they were in NID campus. Like, हाँ हम ये करते हैं, हम वो करते हैं, oh everyone is stupid, हम like some of their talks are just like, am I going to be this in 50 years where I'm still walking on cloud 9 and I don't get off and I'm just like, I have an air about myself? That's not right. Like we need to really get some reality check that hum koi amazing cheese nahi hai. We're very easily replaceable. So you need to make yourself irreplaceable, and how you make yourself irreplaceable is if you are a high functioning creative. Like, get up, do that work, meet your deadlines, give good work. I'm not saying like, हम amazing work के चक्कर में good work छोड़ देते हैं. Like we don't have to chase perfection. That is overrated. Creativity in itself, we've been given too much of bhav, and we need to break out of that cycle. We need to learn to accept that NID campus was a bubble. It was a nice vacation for 2.5 years where we had amazing peer conversations. Like my takeaways from NID was a very good close knit friends group. Because as a 25, 26-year-old, you start cementing your ideologies. It's very difficult to make friends after that. And when you're like till 23 in undergrad, you're still very malleable. So you're very like soft and supple and you can be turned anyway. So those friends are fine. But I took a very good support system from NID. Krishna was a great mentor. Like her, quality, her expertise, her values were good. But otherwise, I think NID was just a very nice vacation. All paid for vacation in a nice resort with Kajubhai's khana and ambaras. Reality is very different from that. You need to wake up. You need to wake up at 6, finish all your work, start your day, attend meetings. As a creator, I realized that from 10 to 6, you actually can't do any work because you're just so busy doing admin work, attending calls, this, that. And the real creativity, I literally work in shifts, There's my work shift where I have to attend calls, look at other things, what people are doing. Then I take a break. Then 7 to 10, I do like a little bit of other design work. And then, I whatever, Netflix and just relax. And then in the morning, again, I have to get up and do my work if I have any deadlines to meet. So yeah, the sooner you break this, the easier it is for you.
Okay,
Aditya.
Aditya has raised his hand. Yeah.
Hi. Wait, you're on mute, Aditya.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, it was a great. And first of all, thank you to the Polygon. This is my first session I'm attending here, so it's connecting me to the again to the NID community. And Charanya, see, it's totally different world altogether as we discussed, right? NID and the outside world, and
Yeah.
NID. So the thing totally when I after my NID I started to work startup. Everything was entirely different. Designing
Yeah.
there you do one product, take one problem here. You have to take care of everything. अगर UX करना है, product, customer journey, mapping, value proposition, everything. That is when you're working for other, it's fine. But in your case, when you're making your own startup or something, that how do you manage all these things? Getting the co-founder, getting all these equity, all these skill sets, right? How do you manage? And apart from like one more working in some other company and making all these things, it's very hardest journey, right? So how do you? That's why I asked you, right? I wanted to know the entire. Journey of your it's very hard actually, so that's why it's not easy. It's very fancy to say, but it's not easy.
It's
So
not easy at all.
it's not easy. That's why there are a lot of gray areas, like finding a team and doing all those things and selecting the ideas, and you don't know whether it works or not. If it not works, how do you do all these things? And what if because market doesn't listen to you, right? Tomorrow it may happen something different altogether. It's a different ball game. So how do you manage? Because if you're rich, fine, if you have enough money to burn and it, but when you're spending all these things, investing your money, time, all these things, and leaving your job, or sometimes, but yeah, how do you take that risk and move ahead? What's the metrics to do all this? It's like it's just I'm curious about all these things.
Yeah,
So
so as I was saying that, there's definitely like, I'm never going to give this advice to anyone, which is like, leave your job, leave whatever, go chase your passion. I think that's advice that comes from privilege, as I said. Like, everyone can't afford to do that. Everyone, has bills to pay. Everyone has that. So I feel like you need to be sufficiently risk averse, to just take that plunge and go do what you want and be like, okay, fine, I will manage. You need to, I feel like a lot of people need to start, before they start trusting other people, they need to start trusting themselves. Like, you need to sit and have this conversation with you where you're just like, अच्छा ठीक है, अगर कल पैसे कम पड़ गए, तो do I have a plan A, do I have a plan B, do I have a plan C? When we started off, we got a small grant from Tanvi's college. Tanvi's my co-founder. She's my childhood friend. We've known each other since school. So that factor was always there. Like, okay, she's trustworthy. I know her. We've grown up together. She has her values in the right place. So I think I got very lucky in terms of my finding a co-founder. I didn't have to go look for her. She was right there. And I think when it comes to just putting it all in, we knew that we had a little bit of like, we had very supportive families. My mom is super supportive. Like my dad and my brother are just like, are you sure? Like monthly salary, look, your peers are going to start earning whatever, this package, that package, that guy got 20 LPA. And I was just like, I know what I want to do. I've had this conversation with myself. You need to be very clear about what you want to do and what you want. Sure, doubts creep in, but then you need to have a very honest conversation with yourself. Like, don't get into it thinking, अच्छा नहीं कर सकते तुम नहीं होगा. Be very confident when you get in. Like every time this doubt creeps in, you need to stop and think, okay, what were the 7 backup steps? Do I have to take a bank loan? Do I have to call for an investment? Do I have to like prove myself to anyone? Have a lot of faith in yourself. You're better than you think you are.
yeah, that do I
But
understand.
then you also need to have a lot of like, you need to be very self-aware of yourself also. So
Yeah.
when you're doing it for yourself, you have that ownership, right? You have that shit, agar main ye nahi karungi, to ye fail ho jayega. But when you're doing it for someone else, like you're still like, okay, I don't have to bear the risk. But when you are actually doing it for yourself, you know the consequences of it. Those consequences prevent you from making maybe very risky judgments. And have a support team. By support team, I don't mean someone who works for you. Have 2-3 mentors and advisors. Like my brother, he works at a consultancy firm, and he has a very, very objective view on how things function. So surround yourself by people who are your well-wishers, but who will also give you very critical feedback. We spent 6 months, 6 to 8 months, just doing research, talking to people. I spoke to the son of the founder of Fab India called William Bissell. Okay, and he was just like, oh, he was very dismissive about it. He was just like, I don't think this will work. Like, what is new about it? What is the USP? It's just like, we don't want to reinvent the wheel. We are telling you that we want to make good quality these clothes. And he's just like, hundreds of brands start and end, like it's a very, very crowded space. Food space and the fashion space are very crowded. So there are going to be people who put doubts in you and stuff. But then I feel like you need to believe in yourself, but it shouldn't be blind belief. You need to have a very realistic approach to it. Do you have Aditya, what are you doing right now? Like, what, as in life, what are you doing?
In life, I'm struggling with completing my documentation. That's the main part. So that's I'm doing parallelly. And working for TCS has been 1 year. Before that, I worked in startup for 6 months. Yeah, working and thinking about something. About ideas. Ideas are there, but the thing is, I told you, right? That this is the problem actually. Finding a team and how do you go about taking how you get the gut feeling of all those things. Okay, hum kuch kar sakte hain, but see, that's actually it's not the like it's unique for everyone. Starting up unique for everyone, every business
Yeah.
is unique. The way I do, the way everybody's everything, because skill set are different, right? We
Yeah.
can't have all the 100% skill set.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's a dilemma actually. That's why I'm going through all those whether hum kar sakte hain kuch or nahi. So finding a team. I know that a couple of people who are interested. So that's all actually what you already started all this. There's a lot of journey and see all these things, hurdles are there, right? So how do you tackle all those things? It's not easy to say in one go. So yeah, that's why actually.
Okay, so I think what helped us is that both Tanvi and I have very complementary skill sets, right? So we never have any conflicting opinions, because if I have an opinion on design, I get the say in it. Straight away when it comes to like a little bit of strategy and business, we're always consulting each other. It's not that we take it independently. We have very complementary skill sets. She's very strategic. I am more on the creator side and more of the appeal side. So find someone who has complementary skill sets so that there is conflict. And how you resolve conflict is also one of the biggest things that helps with a startup, because in a startup you're going to have conflicts all the time. How you resolve it and how you move forward from it is very important. We have weekly check-ins, which is just like a one-on-one check-in. You sit and talk to each other, and then you ask each other what is going right, what is going wrong, what do you think we can do better, how do you think we performed. I think a lot of reflection is what is missing, because josh mein to hum kar lete hain, but we don't actually sit and think about what things are not going right, what things are going wrong. Can you be 100% honest with your founders? Like, if shit hits the fan, you will start throwing shit at each other, but can you be honest from the get-go? So I think all of that a lot of people miss, because Josh may they want to just start something and then they just start it off, but they don't actually have these conversations with each other. And then if any sort of ill feeling starts seeping in, they don't resolve it then and there. And that's why a lot of founders and all split, because they're not on the same page. The end goal is to sell off the company for profitability.
Yeah, Charanya, thank you. There are a lot of things to ask. I think we can connect offline.
Yeah, sure.
There are a lot more people to ask.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I didn't want to cross more than 1 hour.
Yes.
Dip and love. Yeah.
Yeah, you can unmute yourself and ask a question. Dip and love.
Is that I can't see who it is.
Deepika, I think. Deepika.
I think meanwhile Suruchi also has a question.
Hi,
No, it
Charanya.
was just.
Oh, okay. Dip
Hi,
and love.
Charanya.
Hi.
Dip and love. This is me. This is Deepika Sharma.
Okay. Oh, hi, Deepika.
Hi. Yeah, and nice to hear you and nice to see you here. I wanted to ask you, like during pandemic, as we all know, like established brand are also, fighted way too much to keep their value in market, and so how you and what kind of ideas you implemented to keep your artisan livelihood the way smooth, like in previous manner before the pandemic. So how you faced all this thing, how you fight it with the scenario.
Okay, so when the pandemic hit,
Yeah.
we were also very like, we were still just 1 year old, and we hadn't even started breaking even at that time. So I think what really helped us over there was just being able to judge that, things are going to get very desperate. We need to start looking out for our artisans, we need to start looking out for our tailors. So two things we did over there was, one, we weren't able to ship any parcels during that time. So what we did was, we just told our consumers that, look, we're giving you a 10% discount, we're giving you a 15% discount, order whatever you want to order right now, and we'll ship it out after things open up. And I think people just had a more sense of community over there. They're like, okay, we know, we'll help out, and we actually saw an uptick in our orders at that time. So we gave them a discount, and then we shipped it all when the shipping opened up. The second thing what we did was, we just reached out for help. Yeah, it's okay to ask for help. We just put up a fundraiser thing, and we were just like, help our artisans, help our tailors, and we fundraised, and we raised about I think we raised about 2 to 3 lakhs at that time, and we were giving bi-weekly payouts to our tailors and our artisans.
Amazing.
So it's okay. You can just ask for help. There are no people to help.
Thank you so much, Charanya. Very impressed with this enthusiasm.
Thanks, Deepika. Yeah, Suruchi. I think this can be the last question. I don't want to go beyond 1 hour. I think everyone would like to enjoy their Sundays.
Okay, basically, did you also feel the same? Like how I often I did a small project on sustainability, like making a sustainable toy, and I thought like you don't really need a product then if you want to make something sustainable. So did you also go through that thought all the time?
Yeah. I have an existential crisis every 2 weeks where I'm just like, am I doing something? Why am I doing this? Why am I producing more? Why am I adding to it? But then immediately after that, a small voice tells me, ki, look, there is no one else doing this way. If you stop, people are not even going to have that choice. You are giving people that choice to make a better choice for themselves. And if everyone who wants to start something sustainable has this, then they're not going to make anything sustainable. And then the people who are making things very unsustainably are going to keep making things unsustainably.
Okay.
So we need to start giving competitions to the big guys, and we need to start giving them a competition and be like, hey, big guys, like, stop doing what you're doing and start doing things the right way. So I think at least we owe it to the world to give people an option to make a better choice.
Okay. I mean that answers it basically. Like I guess I didn't think of okay, if I make a product like that, I'm going to make a difference. It's like a very small thing that will not really affect anybody. So I guess, but like we can still keep a hope that okay, I'm making a difference or it is going to make some sort of impact someday.
Yeah, I feel like don't get dissuaded by it. Everyone starts small. Amazon also started small only. Now he's in space.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think we're done with the questions. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much, Charanya, for sharing your journey with us and
Thank
just
you.
talking through all the inhibitions, doubts, questions, queries everybody had. And it was very nice speaking to you, learning about your journey.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. It was nice to connect. I think we need this definitely to just vent out, because I feel like sometimes, as the designer, you feel unheard, and you're just like, oh my god, I wish people had told me about this, before. And then I feel like we really need to start building that community where we as new age designers need to start, solving these problems that the older designers have created. Anyway.
Yeah.
But thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for taking this out, and thank you, Polygon, for organizing these sessions. I'm so glad I got invited for it, because now I'll know who to look out for. I sometimes miss this, like literally sometimes it's just like I miss those days of NID when you can just go sit at any table and then have a conversation for over 1.5 hours just about everything under the sun, and that kind of community is missing. You don't get that. Like everyone is just running this rat race. Sure, there's professionalism and following calendars and stuff, but you also need to talk your heart out sometimes.
Definitely. Which is why we felt like there was this missing space. We were losing this alumni connect. We were missing out on people, and we want to recreate like a Kopcha session, online Kopcha session.
Absolutely.
And it really did feel like that here in this session.
All right, guys.
Thank you so much.
Let's keep at it.
Yeah.
Keep attending other people's sessions as well.
Yeah. Thank you so much to the participants also for waking up at 11 in the morning to just be a part of this, and we really enjoy everybody's company and the questions. And thank you, Charanya.
Thank you so much,
taking
guys.
our time for this. See you all next Sunday, 11 a.m.
Bye.
Have a good weekend, guys. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.